All right, it is episode 67 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast. I'm your host with a slight cold, Jeremy Powers, all the way down here in Florida. And also joining me from Florida, back once again, because he's been gone for a while, Caleb.
It's me. That's a me.
He exists.
I do exist. Every now and then I'll come from my ethereal plane of being into a corporeal concept, and then here I am.
And joining us once again, so many times it's become a pre-existing condition, Joey.
Hello, I am a pre-existing condition. Am I benign or malignant though? That's the real question that you'll ask yourselves.
It's malignant, straight up malignant.
Mm-hmm.
It just never stops.
Mm-hmm.
And newly, and finally joining us for the first time to prove that whatever Joey does, she can do better, Kelly.
Oh.
Hi. Wow. Really setting me up for success here, Jeremy.
I work with what I can. How's everybody doing? We having a good Friday?
Well, I was doing fine until that. Now I'm like, if you look closely, which by the way, folks, if you are not watching this VOD, please go ahead and do so. But there is a small tear trickling down my face.
Well, that'll help the burn. So we'll go ahead and jump into what we've been doing or what you've been playing, all that fun stuff. Kelly, since you are our new guest, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So I wrapped up my playthrough of Rune Factory 4, which was my first Rune Factory game, and jumped right into Chrono Cross the Radical Dreamers edition. I played through all of the Radical Dreamers endings. My first playthrough, I went through the van translation because I heard that it was better, and then switched over to the Chrono Cross one and went through the other 5 endings. But now I have to beat Chrono Cross before I could get the final Radical Dreamers ending, etc., etc. Running into kind of a lull mid-game in Chrono Cross, though.
Yeah, that doesn't sound convoluted at all.
I was like, wow, when can I sign up and go play myself?
Do you get to clock overtime for this? Good God. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a play-to-earn game, so get ready for that.
Yeah, the Chrono Gotcha, yeah. That's what Kato always wanted.
Unfortunately, the third Chrono installment is actually Chrono Crypto, so sorry guys.
No. I hate it.
Oh, that sucks. No. I wouldn't put it past Square Enix, though.
Get your Chrono NFTs hot piping off the press.
I will cry. I will definitely cry when that gets announced.
So basically that would be Square, be like, we've made all these games with so many good dystopian futures, we just want to make it real.
Yeah.
We're going to let you live that dystopian future.
This is our final game, reality. Now bending to our will.
Oh, good Lord. They make you pay for the screenshot ability. That's terrifying.
Make you pay to move.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, so if that's what you've been playing, Caleb, we'll go ahead and jump over to you. What you been playing?
Really not a whole lot. Just Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Like me them card games because I'm weird like that. And then trying to catch up on Xenoblade since they moved it to come out 3 days after my birthday, which has me both excited and frightened because I have yet to beat a single Xenoblade game because they're very long and then I usually don't finish them. And I know I'm a terrible person.
I've actually finished a Xenoblade game and you haven't.
I know, right?
It only took me 3 iterations of it, but that's terrifying because you've played these so many more.
I love them, but it's like, can you really say you love them if you've never beaten them? I'm like, they're just so long, and I
love my kids, and I've never beaten them either. But
not yet. One day,
they're big enough to fight back. That's terrifying.
But yeah, that's all I've been doing.
Terrible joke.
That was a good joke. No, I like this a lot. That was
hello,
good.
cattail in the middle of my screen.
Once again, if you're not watching the video of this, a cattail just randomly went in front of Caleb.
I don't know why she always wants to get this way when I'm recording. It's like,
I think it's hilarious. I love it.
Every time. She's like, pay attention to me now, please. Please. Anyways.
All right. Well, Joe, I guess you're next up. What you been playing, man?
What have I been playing? So I've been playing through the Lunar series. Because I'd only really played I've only played the Sega CD ones, 1 and 2 for Sega CD, which is like a real boomer move, apparently. And so yeah, going through there, and I'm playing each version of the game. There's 4 versions of Silver Star. Actually, technically 6, but 4 like distinct versions. So going through all that stuff, played a little bit of Sifu with my friend. I really need to like jump into that game. I played was watching a speed run of Final Fantasy Legend 2 / Saga 2, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play that again. So I did, and just trying to stay a little bit more active with collecting things again, even though this is like the worst time to do that because everything is ridiculously expensive. But playing Lunar really made me, because I didn't have the a couple of the games, and they're very expensive. But I'm like, I just need to fill this out. I need to get my
Want to
fix.
finish the set.
Right, exactly. So been doing that, and with Saga as well. And then
are we going to talk about the vessel for your lost orphans there?
Yeah. So you know what? Hold on. Let me grab this.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
the beauty is on our side, his video is frozen. You can see it just fine, but we don't have to look at it. So we're safe for this for now. But he can show it off.
Silver Star Complete came out, which is like the remake of the first Lunar game. A pre-order bonus was included if you pre-order the game back in 1998 or whenever. And it was the antagonist. It's a puppet, like a punching puppet. I don't know if you can see
the thing is terrifying.
Hands. And it's just friggin' terrifying, man. It's like a small child died of some incurable disease and like haunted this doll. And you know what? Like it gets to live again as a golem, you know, like it's okay.
It's the vessel for the soul of the kid that probably sewed that thing.
Joey, I hate to say it, but this is the reason that you've gone from benign to malignant. Like this specific creature.
That's okay. But I mean, like, you know, is it really death if it gets to live again in a new vessel? That's the question.
If you're stuck in that, yes.
There's some Puppet Master stuff going on in this. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie.
I could see that series popping in there with like Drillhead and the Leech Lady and all that. Yes. I love those movies, by the way.
Puppet Master is one of those things that I'd always see the like preview for on like the What's Playing channel when we used to have those on TV, and it scared the living hell out of me as a child, and I never saw it, so I was just afraid of the preview. It was a great state to be in.
Well, speaking of getting the crap scared the hell out of you, didn't you? Well, that was a good sentence. Didn't you like read a bunch of Junji Ito manga recently?
I did. I've read 6 of the like compilations of his since Tuesday.
Wow. Good God.
It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. I'm definitely okay. But I'm just captivated by it. It's such good horror. Even though I've never seen Puppet Master, like I consider myself kind of like a horror fan. And I just love the way that he's able to like have this storytelling that has all of this like subtlety to it and then show the things that are terrifying without having it lose that like terror aspect of it. It's really great. I don't know. So happy and fine. Definitely fine.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very picky about what horror movies I actually watch. Like I used to love watching the Puppet Master ones because the first one, you know, they were trying to kill everybody, and then by the second one, they were starting to become like the heroes of it because everyone was like, oh, they like the puppets. Let's do something more creative with them and let them start doing good things. And yeah, I always just remember the Jester with the spinning head where he'd actually change expressions. For a low budget film, they were creative.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it started out as like I think it started out as a direct to VHS series, and it continued that legacy throughout.
So the whole company making those was just one of those low production, like low money, low production costs. You know, movie houses.
Trauma 2.0.
Kinda, but not as funny.
Yeah, not as like nuanced for sure.
Trauma is just so messed up. We need to get around and just sit down and talk about those sometime. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the news because we actually have a bunch of stuff to cover this week. And I'm gonna mute myself on occasion to cough. So just stare at me quietly.
How dare you?
Y'all don't want to hear that.
You do sound younger when you're congested. Like you sound like a 19-year-old lad. Let me just say, and being because you're only 21, that makes a lot of sense.
I am literally double that. Terrifyingly 42.
Age
So-
reveal.
I don't care.
Hurry,
I'm going
dox him.
bald too. Finally, who cares?
Just kidding.
All right. So Bethesda Studios announces the delays for Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023 when they were originally set to be the later half of this year. They were quoted in saying, "We've made the decision to delay the launches of Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arcane Austin for Redfall and Bethesda Game Studios for Starfield have incredible ambitions for their games, and we want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. We want to thank everyone for their excitement for Redfall and Starfield. That energy is a huge part of what inspires us every day and drives our own excitement for what we are creating. We can't wait to share our first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon."
Can I just? I need
I'm
to
okay.
highlight something really
Go for it.
fast.
Yo.
It's about you.
Uh-oh.
I was watching your accent fluctuate so hard there, and you know what word gave you away? It was Starfield, because you started out saying Starfield. It was like that, and
Oh, I
then you
did?
started pronouncing it more. So you were like starting out East Coast and then going back to Florida and then going back to East Coast, and it was adorable.
You're like the only person who's been able to like pick apart how I talk. I love it.
I'm annoying. It's fine. This
It
is
is.
the malignancy coming back.
Joey is absurdly good at being able to pick out like bits of accent. Watch a movie with him sometime, and he'll tell you where every actor is from. Like, and check himself on Wikipedia and be accurate. It's wild.
And
I'm
then
wild
be
ride.
self-congratulatory about it too. That's an integral
That's
part
the
of
best part,
it.
actually.
Yeah.
And I'm usually pretty good about trying not to have too much of an accent if I'm thinking about it. But with a cold, it's going to come right through.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Ooh, this is prime vulnerability." So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm in my weakened state. I must fight back.
Yeah, I
So
didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to say it.
no, it's good. It's good. I don't see a problem with this. Like, I'd rather the game be delayed than be a buggy mess.
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of nice. Like,
Yeah.
I think Bethesda by themselves would have kept that date and put it out, and we would have had to deal with bugs and patches. I think under Microsoft, they're like, "Oh, we have to actually make this right. We're gonna need some more time." So
yeah.
I don't know. There's so many games coming out on so many different systems. I know people are trying to use this like for console wars and crap like that, and I'm like, I got so much other stuff to play. I don't even care.
I
Sorry,
mean, I'm
laughing at Caleb with
100%.
his cat.
I don't know what her deal is. She's anyway. Sorry.
She's no.
Next
It's
time you
okay.
hold up that
She's-
cat, you better show that cat to the camera. That's just wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, "Come on, man."
If you're gonna
Um,
share the cat, share that cat.
So, I totally agree with the fact that like I'd rather a game get delayed like over and over and over again and have it be better, even if it's just marginally better. But that being said, if I never have to hear that Miyamoto quote again, I'll be fine. You know, I'll be okay. I'm already okay. I don't need to hear more about it. But I don't really have a vested interest in anything Bethesda because I haven't really been interested in their developed games for a while. So
So literally, I was so tempted to quote it, but I was like, everyone's probably heard that 5 million times.
Oh, I would kick you out of the show right now. I'd be like, "Nope, where's that button? Where's that
Jeremy's like,
button?"
he's got the finger on the eject button.
I'll be like a
I
Bond
just-
villain. Ha Click.
I just really, really want to learn that it's sort of like curiosity killed the cat, where it's half of the quote and the rest of it like completely invalidates the first half. Like curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought him back. Miyamoto quote about games being okay to be developed, but actually it's horrible.
Right.
Also, you scared Caleb's cat.
Oh,
with
I'm
that.
so sorry.
That cat is terrified now. He's like, "That curiosity dying? Oh no!"
It's
Good.
okay. The satisfaction will bring you back.
No. Keep her away for a minute. I'm trying to record.
Oh Lord. I mean, I'm looking forward to trying to play Starfield. I just want to see what they're doing with it. I'm interested in the idea behind it, but I think at least by the Xbox showcase they're supposed to be doing later this year, I think we'll get a nice deep dive into it, and that'll probably hold over a lot of people. I mean,
I want it to, like, as soon as people boot up the game, it's just you're in a field where there's a bunch of stars in the sky, and that's
That's
it.
it.
$10. That's a
Yeah.
loading
That's
screen.
all it is.
That's got to be
And
the loading
then-
screen.
Frank Sinatra's My Way starts playing.
Oh no! Stranger of Paradise this is the crossover that we
They
all
could do
have.
it. I mean, somehow connected to like old Fallout games.
No, it's finally rural Ohio finally gets some representation.
Ohio.
Or Iowa? Which is worse? I think Iowa's worse.
I am not answering that because that's a dangerous question. Which state do I want to piss off today? Florida.
D, all of them.
There you go. All the above. They're all equally messed up. So going from one delay to something none of us really seem super excited about actually this time, Nintendo held an Indie World Showcase on May 11th, which usually is nice seeing the directs and things like that going on. But this one had a few things I thought were fun, but it's kind of just smaller, it's kind of under the radar type games. I'm just going to go through a couple of them. If there's any particular ones you guys want to talk about, feel free. But they had Ooblets coming out summer 2022. Super adorable. Yeah. Just loved how that one looked. Batora Lost Havens, an action RPG, also fall of 2022.
I will actually probably get that one, honestly. It looked really good combat-wise, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a hot minute since I saw the direct, but yes.
I actually tend to like action RPGs more than turn-based, so that might be more my way. Electhead comes out summer 2022. This one actually looked kind of fun. You can throw your head around to power things, but you have to be able to get back to your head within a time limit before it explodes.
Very Mega Man. Very Mega Man.
Yeah, very much an 8-bit art style. I mean, so cool with that one. Soundfall is available now. This is a dungeon crawler with rhythm-based attacks.
This actually looks cool.
It does look cool.
This looks really cool.
Kind of tempted to pick this one up just to try it out.
I put like 700 plus hours into Audio Surf because that game was literally playing a Winamp visualization tool.
Oh yeah.
So,
you ever tried listening to podcasts with that?
No, but I do have
quick.
the record for my own music on there. So thank God for that.
You have to send me the file so I can try it.
Looking good. Yeah, I don't know. I got pretty good at it, man. It's like it's kind of like playing. But if you haven't played Audio Surf, it's kind of like Wipeout.
I love that game.
Mixed with like it's just it takes a song and just like generates a rhythm game track to it, and it looks really cool. And yeah, so this is similar to that concept, except it's like somewhere between that and what's it called? The dungeon crawler game, Cadence of Hyrule. Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah,
it's sort of like that.
Okay,
so, but more like typically ARPG. It's like a little bit more streamlined, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that a lot of the rhythm or mixing of genres with rhythm games, it's like a new thing. Like past couple of years, for some reason, just a lot of them coming out. I think there's a first person one, and I can't remember what it's called, but I don't
remember that one.
It escapes me. I've heard it mentioned before, but I can't remember if it's like you're in hell and you're shooting things along to like the rhythm. I don't remember. Not that it's important, but anyway.
Yeah, it does look like you can import your own music for the PC version of this one. I'm really curious, like, what is the best genre to like play to? Like,
don't play math rock on there.
Is that like
maybe post rock?
This extreme?
I must have completely missed the fact you could import your own music. I thought it was just your attacks were rhythm to the music itself, not you could add.
Yeah, they are, but it's like it's the same as Audio Surf, where it will generate a stage and enemies and stuff based off of whatever you use. So
well,
I have to get this.
If there's
now,
anything Guitar Hero has ever taught me, just don't play through the fire and flames, and you'll be okay. It's just like
I've got memories of that one.
Good song. Good song.
I'll have to check this out. This is definitely one of those games I think you would probably be better playing it with headphones. Which is like I like the fact that you can put your own music in on the PC version, as Kelly said. I don't know if that works for the Switch version somehow. but
Yeah,
it
probably
just feels
not.
like it would be easier to do headphones with that. But I guess I'll be
It
getting
would
this
be
one on
great
PC.
if like there was a Nintendo music library you can just pull from, play Nintendo music as you go
It'd all
through the
be
dungeon.
classical music and then like a happy birthday and a Donkey Kong theme. If Jungle Beat reminds me of anything.
Aquatic ambience would be a pretty fun one though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would actually. All right, well, moving on, we've got Wild Frost coming out holiday 2022. This is a card-based battle game, so I don't care.
I was
What?
like, that's interesting enough, but we'll see. Maybe I'll catch it on sale or something like that.
Card-based
Card
battle
haters.
games, they break my brain.
It's a
too
card
much in my
game.
head to keep up with.
It's a children's card game, Jeremy. Can you
Are you
not
trying to
play
say I
the
can't keep up with a children's game? Because you're right. Now this one, I will get this the moment it's available because it's just so much possibility for stupidity, and I'm here for that. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, coming out summer 2022. I do believe this already came out on PC, but having it on the Switch is great because I just like having this to carry around. You get to simulate, in air quotes here because it's janky simulation, battles with armies you can choose from or build up your own with custom designs and stats. So it does have online multiplayer, so we'll be able to make our own armies, see if we can get other podcasts to make their own armies, and we'll have some battles.
Dude, I just want to beat the crap out of like an army of Proud Boys. That's all I want to do. I mean, I could do that in real life.
Set the
also.
AI to 0.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's definitely what they would be. Yeah, but it'd be
Belly
nice.
did 10.
This is the Winamp visualization tool that we need.
A
Beating
battle
the crap
simulator,
out of Nazis and Proud Boys. I like it.
just a fast-paced like Wolfenstein animation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just gunning them down,
popping heads.
great.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm here for that.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited for the stupidity this could bring. So, yay. Next up was Gunbrella, which is coming out in 2023. This one's from the makers of Gato Roboto. You guys ever played that one?
No.
Oh, you guys really should.
Sounds familiar.
It's great. It's all in black and white, lower pixel design, but it's like a cat.
One, yes.
That's a Metroidvania. So much fun.
I need to play it. Even Kyle recommended it to me. I was like, I need to play this.
As soon as it said it was from those guys, I was like, I don't care. I'm going to buy this game. I loved it.
It looks really cool. Looks very fluid as well, which I like. Yeah,
the movement kind of reminded me of what was it? Enter the Gungeon, just for the animation and smooth
Love that game.
movement. Yeah, I never really played much of this
game.
sequel.
Wish I could unlock everything, but I pulled my hair out because keep dying.
I only get like a couple dungeons in.
I've done a no-hit run. It's a lot of fun.
Well, maybe I'll have you come beat my copy for me.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
So I can play as the last character.
The sword or the bullet?
No, I love the bullet.
The bullet guy is a guy with a sword. I forgot who the last one is.
That's what I mean.
Oh, the cowboy.
Yes.
What's his name?
The gunner. The gunslinger, whatever his name is.
Yeah. I know. I got you.
I can't do it.
Characters, right? Or is there 5?
There's a
like
lot.
7 or 8, I think.
7 or 8.
Well, I'm behind.
Mm-hmm. I'm so mad. I was like 1 pixel off from beating him in his health, and I lost all hope. So
that's what always happens.
It was very depressing.
So next up is We Are OFK. Based on a real band, you play as members as you make choices and see how things go. They're going to do weekly updates or story updates for an undetermined amount of time after it releases. They showed this one before. It's kind of interesting looking, but I don't think I'm going to play it. Next up was Silt, coming June 2022. This one's a black and white side-scrolling underwater exploration title, which sounds weird, but it reminds me a lot of Limbo. You guys remember that one?
Mm.
It's the little all black kid with the hollow eyes that gets stabbed by spiders. Lots of mentions of child violence today.
Speaking of Junji Ito.
Right on brand.
Damn. All right. Next up was Mini Motorways. This is also available now. Traffic-based puzzle game. It looks kind of fun. If it's not super expensive, I might get it to try out on my flight Monday. Just to
That's
mess with
the worst description of anything I've ever heard. Traffic-based puzzle game. Dude, bro, that's the last place I want to be. Do we, like, I don't want to have to play
stuck in traffic. I don't know.
No, I hate that. I hate how that sounds. No.
Isn't that just Frogger?
Frogger at least had like
That's a traffic-based platforming game.
Yeah, like
True, true, true.
reactive
Traffic-based survival
Yeah.
horror game. Yes.
survival horror. Yeah.
This is SimCity, but only with the road part.
Oh God, no. Ugh.
Have you ever wanted to be a traffic
awesome-
technician?
Yeah,
Train
it's-
this way.
Maybe a better version of Streets of SimCity. I haven't played that in forever. All right, next was Wayward Strand, coming out July 21st. This one kind of had a nice little design to it. Fully voiced character-driven exploration game where in a 1970s rural Australia flying hospital, you play as a teen reporter named Casey as you try to solve mysteries and get to know the different characters. The cool thing about it is the story, everything happens together. So every time you play it, you have to make different choices and you can kind of follow the threads of one story to figure out what's going on with it. So you have to play it over and over again to kind of figure out other options. So it's Australian 70s
It's
Groundhog
literally
Day?
every VN. That's all, like
fair.
every single one. Yeah.
Really?
This concept seems it's like that super stylized thing that kind of seems like it took a lot from Paradise Killer, maybe too much, because like I feel like a big thing with indie games now, unfortunately, is kind of like, look at how conceptual this is, and that might kind of be it, but this one did kind of stand out for me a little bit when I was watching this direct.
I like the idea behind it. It just kind of seems like it could be a relaxing game to kind of just explore.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Yeah, there's like a theme of relaxing games with flying hospitals and maybe like ships that transport souls to the afterlife. A lot of maybe not so relaxing themes in these relaxing games.
Yeah, this next game is not relaxing at all. Cult of the Lamb, coming out in 2022. It's a randomly generated world where you play, and as soon as they said this, I had to stop and rewind to make sure I heard it right. You're a possessed lamb, or you're possessed by a demon, but you were saved from a sacrifice by a random stranger. So now you're trying to go through these generated levels to build up a cult to follow the person that saved you.
All right,
I was
I'm
like,
actually very into
what?
that.
Yeah, and it's so cute looking. That's what's terrifying. So, yeah, I'm gonna get this one regardless because it's just so weird. I don't know. I'm down for it. Next up was Another Crab's Treasure, coming out in 2023.
This one has a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, it did for me until it literally described itself as a Souls-like, and I was like, no, I'm good.
You said sacrificial lamb, and my dog came up to me and was like, "No, not me.
Don't do that.
There's
You're not
two
a
other
lamb."
ones. Perhaps they would prefer to be sacrificed, but not me."
I don't know. She
Nope.
kind of has a pick me look in her eye, actually.
I just
Please,
need to
Daddy,
end
I
this.
must die.
If you must do it, do me. Just take me out. Oh, Lord.
I wish to be free. From this
All right,
I wish
magical
to be
oil.
free.
I am looking at Another Crab's Treasure, and I am fascinated in what way it could be Souls-like.
So it's Souls-like in that I'm pretty sure you'll have like your bonfires, but like literally you get a shield, which is the different shells you can equip, and you fight big bosses and stuff all the time. And I think that's mainly where it's coming from. I'm pretty sure.
My worry is I hear Souls-like and it's used so much. I get one of two options that happens. You either take your time, balance your game out well, and it may be difficult, but it's fun to play, like Elden Ring. I actually is the first one I really enjoyed. I know, Bloodborne and stuff like that people get into a lot. And then you have the then you have the overused version of it where they say it's a Souls-like because they don't know how to actually develop a level, so they just make it super
where
hard.
it's like,
And say if you don't enjoy it, you just don't play it well enough. You
You're
suck
terrible.
at good.
Ooh.
I hate
Ooh.
that. Just hate it.
It doesn't look from the outset. Don't know if it's the art style, but just doesn't look that hard. But who
It's
knows?
just a difficult SpongeBob game. I don't know.
well,
Yeah,
you- that's a hard thing to say because the Aladdin and Lion King games exist. And it's like
Oh
how
God,
true.
those are Soulsborne.
that broke me
Yeah.
as a child. Like it made. I think it's why I'm clinically depressed. Like it's because of Aladdin and the Lion King. It happens.
Yeah, those games are ridiculous.
Another crab's treasure is going to be another kid's trauma. That's all there is to it.
What a great tagline.
Oh yeah, no, we're making the commercial out of that. That's
Next,
Jeremy-
next trailer we see Zenspath podcast or podcast jump and Scummy like next kid's depression. Good job.
That's
See,
great.
Jeremy, you never beat your kids, but you could
I give
have
them
given
these
them
names.
another crab's. What is it called again? I forgot it already.
Another crab's treasure.
Another crab's treasure. Yeah, I've been so traumatized by
So
it that
memorable.
I've already my mind has already slipped. My bad.
Yeah, it's not good for their marketing if you've already forgotten while we're talking about it.
This game was so forgettable. What were we even talking about? I don't remember.
Oh, Lord. All right, so after this, they kind of went into a speed round of showing off a couple games. There wasn't much information about these, really, but they had One Shot World Machine Edition coming summer 2022, whatever that was. The video didn't make any sense. Gibbon Beyond the Trees, which is available now, looks like a monkey simulator. You swing. It's physics. I don't know.
Monkey.
Idle Manager, August 25th. I'm skipping that one probably.
Yeah.
Card Shark. Kind of looked fun.
Well, and
go ahead.
either I've seen this before, or it was deja vu, or it's like been released already.
Well, there's a
But
demo for it now, but no release date given.
it just looked familiar.
Yeah, I
And
just
I'm not
like
sure from where.
I like the idea behind it because the point is to try and cheat other players at cards in a manner of weird ways, like using reflection, sleight of hand, paying off, a waiter to tell you the cards, just all this weird stuff.
Huh.
And it's such an interesting concept. Like, you're not worried about trying to play cards, you're worrying about how to cheat.
Isn't
So it's
wait,
like
you
a
guys
puzzle.
don't do that?
No, Joey, we
No,
can play
not
cards.
typically. No.
We don't admit it on the show. Because I'm going to Vegas next week. We keep that
He's
quiet.
covering his bases just in case.
Bases
When
and
you
aces.
fly into Vegas, they do a very deep, thorough search of your background.
Sir, we listened to your latest show. You are not allowed here.
You've won exactly $20 in the slot machines. We've looked into you, and you can't keep that money.
Yeah. How dare you?
So you need to leave now. Next up was
We'll keep the money.
Cursed to Golf. Comes out summer 2022. Fun and weird looking golf game. And I'm a sucker for dumb golf games, specifically like Golf Story and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this. Like it just looks ridiculous with all the weird powers and like possessed balls and all this other stuff you can do. And none of that sentence sounded right. Moving on.
Hey,
me,
I
hold
wasn't
on.
thinking until you said it.
Yeah, balls jokes.
I just want to call out that Curse to Golf refers to itself as a golf-like adventure.
Golf like.
Golf like we've gone from Souls like to golf likes,
Precisely.
ladies and gentlemen.
Souls-like
I'm
gives me
waiting for the
concern.
next.
Golf like. I'm in.
Waiting for the crab like that'll come out from that.
If you think you've gotten a hole in one with summons, let me tell you, you have not.
That's not how you play the game.
That's not
Just
how you play
because
the
they're
game.
there. That's just because they're there doesn't mean you use them.
If
Yeah.
you used a 5-iron, then no, you didn't beat the game. No, you cheated. You used an overpowered option.
If you can't get under par while completely naked, not using a club, you don't know how to play this.
What even are you?
You're not a true golfer. You noob. Next up was a guidebook of Babel, which I couldn't understand what was going on. I have to go back and watch that again. That's fall of 2022. And lastly, Opus Echo of Starsong Full Bloom Edition, available now. I still don't get what's going on with that
I
one
feel
either.
like I actually wanted that one, and I'd have to look at what it is again because I don't remember what it was. But
It's a game. I know that much. It's coming out on Switch. It's available now.
Oh no, it's a visual novel. No, heck no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm good. We'll stay far away from that.
You don't like to read?
I just don't like visual novels. It's like
I don't think the people that
play a
make visual
game,
novels like visual novels.
if I want to read, I'll go look at a book.
I think 13 Sentinels would change your mind.
Is that one
It
I should
changed
try?
my mind. I
What's
was
it
the
on?
same as you. It opened my world.
Yeah.
What's it on?
A Switch and PS4.
Oh,
Actually, I
Yeah.
think PC too, right? I don't know.
I think so. I played that one recently too, and yeah, it was really fun. Definitely pick it up.
13 Sentinels, huh?
Aegis Rim.
Okay, I'll check it out. All right, so yeah, that was the end of the Nintendo Indie World Direct, and it was just kind of
I sleep.
It was.
a few
It
games
was-
I'm interested in, but I'm not really excited for the show. It's not like memorable.
I didn't get to see Silk Song announcement, so I'm upset.
Dude,
Oh,
I
you're-
don't even have any like hype for it anymore. It doesn't exist. It's vaporware.
I'm just laughing at everyone's anguish every time anything is mentioned. They're like, Silk Song will be here. And I'm like, dude, this was a Smash Brothers Direct.
Silk Song. What's the
My
next
brother in
Smash
Christ,
character?
this is a Kirby Direct. Please relax.
Sir, this is a Wendy's?
I'm just seeing a future in which the announcement of Silk Song is a DLC character for Smash. Not any character from Silk Song, but just the like concept of an announcement.
There's like a Smash trailer for it, but not like anything with Silk Song in Smash. Like it's just to confuse and obfuscate
Oh
everyone.
my god, I would love if they did a Silk Song trailer that was like a Smash reveal, but on the invitation it had like he needs to read by this date, and he just missed it in his mail. So he just he missed it and never got into it. Then they go into the actual release.
That's
of the
actually
game.
good. I like that idea a lot.
Everyone gets all
actually.
hyped. They're just like, "Oh, well, you suck." Blame to Joy. He didn't get your mail to you. All right. So next up, story-wise, here we've got Warner Brothers Games Montreal announced that Gotham Knights is dropping support for all last-gen systems. It will only be coming out for the Series S, Series X, PS5, and PC. So games are finally starting to cut out the PS4 and Xbox One, and I'm okay.
Honestly,
with that.
I think this is for the best because my only reservation is this. I mean, right now PS5s and even Xbox Series X, they're not as hard, but they're still really hard to get. So that's, I think, one of the biggest roadblocks, right? And
Yeah.
it sucks because making games cross-platform now is really hamstringing a lot of their potential. And I think this kind of thing is something that we'll be seeing more of for sure. And I think it's kind of for the best, but I really wish Sony would find some way to deal with their issues that they're having with production with PS5s and distribution of them, because it's like it's a nightmare.
Because their current choice for that is to start making more PS4s because they can still make those, which is not a good sign.
Yeah.
Microsoft had shut down the stuff for Xbox One a while back, so now they're able to make a bunch of Series S's and a pretty good amount of Series X's. I've seen those in stores. They sell out quick, but they're there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's
it feels
amazing.
a lot more possible. I've gotten to check out with Series X's, and I could have got them multiple times, and that never happened with a PS5 until I got it.
Yep. All right. Well, next up, this I got all excited for about 30 seconds, and then I watched the trailer and hurt me so badly. Resident Evil series is coming to Netflix on July 14th, but it looks like it's based off the movies, not the games.
Why not?
Because they
the
hate
real
me.
question. Because it's Netflix. And
Oh,
Yeah. I'm sure it's already canceled.
yeah. First
Yeah,
episode.
before it began.
We're actually canceling the rest of it. Here's the first episode. Also, don't forget to not watch any animation ever.
Yeah,
'cause
we've
we hate it.
we've announced this,
So-
but then we went ahead and canceled it so we could put more budget into the multiple movie length episodes of Stranger Things.
And we wanted more Boss Baby, the animated series, for some reason.
That's
so,
what everyone wants, man.
stop.
Stop. Gotta have my boss baby. So
You know,
honestly, I hate this Resident Evil stuff. All that news, the new thing that came out was pure trash. And
I still want
really
to watch it because it's trying to be from the games, and I'm like, this could be so bad it's at least good to watch.
No,
for-
it's not, man.
for
It's
stupidity.
I
sad.
would say, wasn't it technically like a B movie trying to be an A movie or an A-list movie?
Basically, I mean, so even the first Resident Evil sucks because it's Paul W.S. Anderson, and Paul W.S. Anderson sucks. But like,
Damn.
at,
All right.
at the same time, you know, it had an element of camp to it, an element of like just pure poopy. That is kind of like so bad it's good. A schlock, right?
It had the laser
Mhm.
hallway. That was
The
an
laser
impressive
hallway,
scene.
right? So
Stupid, made no
Shotgun
sense,
quarters.
but I loved it.
and you know, like they didn't know better back then. It's 2022. We know better than to make crap now.
They were
I mean,
young. They
look
didn't
at
know any more better.
right. They were young and we didn't know any better. We were innocent. Like
He
look
was
at the
showing off his
Castlevania
wife.
show in comparison.
Oh, Castlevania show's so good.
So
Like
good.
like there's so much more unanimous praise for that show for a good reason because yeah, it took a lot of liberties from the game, but it's well written, it's interesting, the characters are engaging. None of these video game adaptations are, and especially these crappy Netflix is. I'm over it.
Castlevania was good. I
Yes.
thought The Witcher was good. I've enjoyed that. I still need to watch the newer season of it. I haven't had a chance to.
Same, yeah.
They've shown they can do both animated and good live action versions of these shows, but then they do this. Like, are they just trying to prove like, all right, we had the other people that did animated Resident Evil that were all the CG ones, which were also horrible, and they just want to live up to that? Like, I don't know.
I know it's like people watch them. It's for like a very mainstream audience, and I think Resident Evil has always been the movies, at least, have always been profitable for their budget, and I feel like
Oh yeah.
that's not destroying the brand image because Resident Evil is so ingrained in like gamer sphere. It's not going to be
Well, like actual
deterred.
zombies, as long as they're making money, they're going to keep bringing it back over and over again.
Mhm. And just real quick, I hate to be pedantic about this, but the Witcher stuff was based off of books, like long before the
Touche.
games.
So
So
you are
like,
very true on that.
so they have like a little bit more of leeway with like what they can do. You now have two different source materials you can pull stuff from, basically. So yeah,
All right. Well, the other two of us will just continue that. I've been called out. We'll just,
yeah. Screw you.
we're just
Screw
slowly
you, man.
weeding everybody out of the show by the end of it. It's like just
actually,
me.
Actually,
Oh God, I did just get actually.
I only will actually do because I think that there's an important distinction to make with like what makes video game adaptations good, and it's like the ones that are good are usually like kind of free, right? You know, like
Yeah,
I think Castlevania was really the only one that surprised me because I really was expecting that to be pure shit.
Yeah, that one did go against all expectations. I was like, good God, this is great. But I mean, you're right. So Witcher's was based off the book, just like the Resident Evil movie was just based off of Anderson wanting to see his wife in weird clothing.
Yeah, that was exactly. Don't say you've seen the anime until you've read the manga.
God, don't say you've seen that movie till you've seen their marriage.
Yeah.
Is it that bad?
They're still married, so I don't know. Like, it just doesn't end. I guess as long as it's profitable, they're still married. Who knows? What is no longer profitable that they are ending, Apple officially discontinues the iPod series of music devices for the first time since 2001.
Pour one out.
21 years.
truly, we have fallen as a species, and this is one of our greatest fails.
Yeah, I still feel they're because they say that like no one's using them because they just use their iPhones or other devices, but I think there's still good uses for music only devices. Like I kind of wish they wouldn't quit making these because I'd like to get the older hard drive version.
I would like to get a version that has more than what's it, 15 gigabytes or something. I don't know. What
Yeah,
there's
my
not
watch
enough.
has more storage than some of those things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there needs to be more. I need more.
Yeah, but the iPod Touch will be the final edition, and they're still available for sale, but only until stock runs out. So I don't know how long that's going to go. But yeah, pour one out. The no more iPods.
This has been a steady cultural decline since AIM went offline in like 2018.
AIM and Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah, it's
MSN Messenger.
I use those more than I wish to admit.
same.
Bing, you've got mail. All right, so now we're going to get into something convoluted and long, and we'll see how this goes. But Sony, ironically termed, clarifies some of the titles you'll get access to with the new version of PlayStation Plus services launching soon. We talked about this before, but they were very unclear about what games they have, and now I don't know. I'm still kind of iffy on these selections. So, games for the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium/Deluxe plans, which is at least $100 or more a year. PS4, PS5 catalog, you get 38 PlayStation Studios games, 24 third-party titles, mostly PS4 titles with a few PS5 games listed. A few titles like God of War and Marvel Spider-Man are only allowed the PS4 versions. You don't get the PS5 editions. A couple of them give you both. Some of them stick just to the PS4. The classic games catalog is starting off really thin. It's 6 PlayStation Studios and 4 third-party games. Some will have improved frame rates and higher resolution, but they weren't fully clear on which ones will. There's a couple remaster, but we'll see.
Find out for yourself. When you open them up.
So a couple that notice, like Ape Escape, IQ.
That's the only one I care about.
I love IQ. That game's great. Hot Shots Golf. Super Stardust Portable is the only PSP game. That's a weird one to start with.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. And especially considering Stardust is on... So Stardust HD is on PS4, PSN.
Yeah.
And it's just a way better version. So...
And if Sony actually admitted the Vita existed, then, you know, they could at least let you move these over there, but I don't think those are going to be supported. Mr. Driller is going to make Remy happy. He loves that game.
Mr. Driller
Tekken 2, I guess they're waiting on Tekken 3. And then a couple Worms games.
And so that's cool too, but also there's Worms games on PSN. So again, It's like their better versions are available. Like, yeah.
Yeah. The classic remaster, there's 13 each PlayStation Studio and 5 each for third party, but some of those, Arc the Lad, Twilight of Spirits, I thought was interesting. That's for PS4. Yeah. Ape Escape 2 for PS4. Dark Cloud 1 and 2. That was kind of surprising. They're releasing both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So, by the way, just to clarify, these are all available right now that you can download on PSN, but they're just making these free.
Correct. Fantavision, which I'm surprised they're still trying to make that a thing. Like, really? Jax 1, 2, 3, and Jack X. That's part of why I'm like, could you not at least put, Daxter for PSP on there? Like, go ahead and just round it out. Put the other good one in there. Wild Arms 3.
Fascinating.
Interesting.
Just jumping straight to 3.
Yep.
Rogue Galaxy, I've heard about but never played.
Oh, that's so good. Rogue Galaxy is really good. That's the best game on this list.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
BioShock Remastered, because that's been re-released.
Oh, actually, no, that's the best game. My bad. It was on a different page. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Kindly read the rest of the list.
Okay. Borderlands: A Handsome Collection, because that also has been everywhere. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Don't even know why they bothered. Like, it's a fun game, but like it kind of had its time over a decade ago. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. Love that. And then Lego Harry Potter Collection. Like,
they gave that to us for free because no one wants it anyway.
Right.
Like no one wanted to support it, so like, okay, well, no one's going to want to support J.K. Rowling anymore, so just slip that.
We know you've been playing the new Lego Star Wars games, but remember this.
You should be. That game is fantastic. That game is so good. So now we get into the PS3 streaming only titles because they're not doing any backwards compatibility for these at all. These are only available on PlayStation Plus Premium where available. So it's $120 a year to be able to play these games. 21 each for the PlayStation Studios and 8 third-party titles. I didn't even bother listing them because streaming these games is going to run like absolute hot garbage.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point?
Demon's Souls is on there, and they do allow trophy support.
So you want to stream Infamous? Oh, you died already? Ha!
Yeah, like I was playing Demon's Souls and I needed that perfect, movement time. Oh, it lagged. Yeah. Whoops. Oh, God. Sony requires at least a 5 megabit a second connection to stream, but recommends 15 megabytes a second. To compare, Microsoft doesn't have a listed minimum, but usually recommends about 20 megabytes for console. So No idea how this is going to go. And then 6 titles are available at launch for timed limited game trials. So you get to try out the games and then pay them.
No, yeah, it's actually pretty cool because I like this trials concept a lot.
Right.
You get to try out a game completely for like, is it 2 or 3 hours? I forgot. And you keep trophy data, you keep save data, everything carries over. And it doesn't, it's cumulative, so you don't. I can play 10 minutes one day, exit the app. I don't have like a time limit. It's
Right.
kind of nice, really. I don't know how many people are going to really use this, but I like that this is a thing.
It's just kind of, I guess these would be games that are not available on the service that you get demos for, because otherwise just let people download them and play them,
Yeah.
Like with Game Pass. Oh, I want to try this. Okay, you have the game, play it. Oh, I don't like this. Delete it, move on. There's no
Right.
need to have a demo of it because you just already have availability. So that's just, I guess that's what I kind of find weird.
Priming the games that are, yeah, exactly. I actually kind of think that that's cool because it doesn't just give you everything at once. It gives you like a selection. So it's like, here's this thing that you can play. If these titles cycle, it'll be interesting. It's like a way to keep the market sort of fresh. But the way that they've rolled this out is a mess, and there just doesn't seem to be a lot that's worth it right now.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder if people, like, if you play that for a bit, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, but is this going to come out as one of the free games I get? Should I just wait and hold off and then get it later?
I think that's the point, though. So it's like it just gives you something to play.
Gotcha.
And I think that's sort of like what they're trying to do. They're trying to give you some kind of like rolling difference compared to Game Pass, I think, for better or worse.
Right. So they laid out their schedule for it. The first Tuesday of the month for PlayStation Plus Essential Plan and both higher tiers, they'll add some PS4 and PS5 games, like what they currently do with PlayStation Plus. So that's not changing. The middle of each month will be a refresh of titles of PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium/Deluxe plans. The amount of titles will vary each month. No word on if the titles will cycle in and out like Game Pass does. If you don't play the game now, it'll be gone in a month or something. We don't know. Sony stated that some PS1 and PSP titles will be playable without a subscription if you previously purchased said games digitally on a previous generation, or if they make them available and you buy them now. So that's actually kind of cool. I like that. If I don't get that higher tier,
didn't know that.
I have some PlayStation classics that I got for playing on Vita or the PSP Go, PS Vita TV. Yes, I admitted to having both of those.
I really should have got a PS TV. I messed up.
I bought mine from a friend of mine for $75. And
they were like $20 for like a week and a half.
The best way I can describe it is it had a section where you could download Netflix, install Netflix, but you're not allowed to run Netflix on it. So why the hell did you even have it as an option to download it?
What?
Yeah.
Because it said it wasn't allowed to run Netflix.
To impress your friends.
It's there for the vibes, yeah.
It's just Netflix to get the icon.
Like that's how you can. No, it was there for the catfishers who were really trying to push that Netflix and chill thing back then. And then,
right, you're just hoping never to get to actually playing the movie part.
Yeah. Sony is there for sleazy guys, basically.
Good job, Sony. That little box could have been a cool little streaming box for back then, because at the time that was not a common thing. Yeah. So if it had actually played Netflix, that would have been huge. I would have put it in my kids' room or something. Anyways, so the service launches May 24th for Asia, June 2nd for Japan, June 13th for North and South America, and June 23rd for Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, with everybody else just not having it. And I guess they're going to stick to normal PlayStation Plus. Don't know. I know Australia is one of the areas that will not be getting the streaming version at all. Because if you can't do PlayStation Now or stream it enough, you think they'd be able to put a server down there by itself. Just be a local connection server, because you don't want to reach across the world anyways,
Yeah. It doesn't help that like PS3 architecture is full of arcane secrets. And we haven't even really been able to emulate PS3 games because it's just been a nightmare.
Look, we've already had the technology way back on PS1 to put the soul of a child into a puppet. That should be able to emulate a PS3 on a PS5.
I think that speaks volumes about why the PS3 was a mess. Like But either way, like it's not. Usually, I'm very critical of companies for being like, "Why don't you just make emulation a thing?" But this is one case where even Sony doesn't know how to emulate their own console, and
Which is
it's a
weird.
huge mess.
Because I've
We
been
don't know.
watching.
We just hooked up one PS3 in the back, and then everybody in the world's going to play off of that one for some.
Well, I mean, people have been looking into it. Like for the PS5, it should have enough oomph to be able to emulate that. And I'm not just making that as a random assumption.
Yeah,
There's
it
been
should.
developers and things that have looked into it, and then PC emulation of PS3s have come a long way. Like recently, it's jumped up to they're playing like Metal Gear Solid 4 and 4K with all this other stuff, and it's fully playable. So like we're almost to the point. All right, you won't give us. You're gonna make us stream it. We're just gonna emulate it. You know,
Right. I give it about another year or two before PS3 emulation is not very easy, but it's more accessible, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I've always been a games collector for a long time, and I was always big like, oh, you shouldn't be doing emulation, just get the actual games. Yeah, I grew the hell up and realized emulation is probably hands down the best means of game preservation in existence. Like that's how in 1,000 years people are going to be able to play these games because the hardware is going to be gone, the games are going to be deteriorated, controllers broken, but emulation will be able to pass on to all kinds of stuff, you know. So yeah, that's how it is. So now we're going to talk about Microsoft finding a way you can still use those discs.
Even when they're all disk rotted out, we're fine.
Right, we're still going to use
We have
it.
that option.
This is kind of a cool idea. This is I'd actually I talked about some of this back when the Xbox Series S first came out, but Microsoft filed a patent for a disk drive add-on for digital systems to use physical media. So basically, this would be a device. They weren't clear if it has to be plugged into the system or just networked with it, but you would put the disk into it. It would connect to their servers and say, hey, they have this game, and then verify it while it's in there and let you download and play it on your Series S, which opens up backwards compatibility for original Xbox 360 games, things that are not digitally available. Or if you already have a collection of games, you could play those, which is kind of cool because the Series S has become surprisingly popular for people to buy. I've seen a lot of those come up, especially as secondary systems. Any thoughts, or am I the only one going into this?
I like that it's an option because, like, let's say you buy a Series S because, and I guarantee this is why they're doing this.
Uh-huh.
You buy a Series S because you couldn't get a Series X because it was out of stock, but the S was in stock. So you buy it, or you get deals for games, and you're like, oh crap, I don't want to have to spend another $400 to play some of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's kind of it's a nice middle ground. Sony would be smart to do something like this too if this actually develops into a peripheral, but I don't really know how well it'll sell, but you know, it's there. I like that the option's there.
So I might just buy one. Just if it works on the computer, why not? I don't know.
Well, that's one thing I was thinking about is like, could this open up an option because Microsoft just talked about adopting ways of backwards compatibility and emulation. Could you plug this into a PC and have that allow the ability to play some of these systems if they do official emulation? You know, if they actually stick to their word and what they're wanting to go, that would be great. Like you'd have a way to verify you own it, you know, to try and curb around people just downloading and stealing the games, but be able to use it beyond, because Microsoft honestly does not care if you don't have an Xbox. If you have a PC to play their games, you're in the environment. You might as well have an Xbox. It's fine. So that would just be a bonus for it, you know? And if it's networkable, you could have one device and that could cover your PC, that could cover your Series S, you know, just which system you want to play it in. It just checks in with that and goes. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that I like the potentialities for that concept. Anything that brings any kind of backwards compatibility, I'm always like, yeah, let's go.
All right, so my voice is starting to kind of go in and out. So Caleb, you want to talk about this next one?
Not particularly, but I will.
Thank you.
Fall Guys is going free to play, leaving Steam June 21st. Very interesting. It's coming to Switch, Xbox, Epic Game Store. I guess they cut a deal. There's going to be a
Yeah, they bought the
PS5.
company.
Yeah, it's going to be a PS5 version. So woohoo, rejoice everyone who owns a PS5. You can now play Fall Guys. 100 level season pass. Goody. Love those. Love season passes. Previous
So
owners
many.
of the game will get the legacy pack. Here's your special thing. I don't know what it's going to be. Full cross-platforming play. Love to see that. Good job. Good job.
Full cross-platform progression is what I really like too.
Yes. And cross-platform progression. So same account. Kind of works like Master Duel. That's why I've been playing it so much, because I'm like, I can play it on my phone and my Switch and my PC. I can play it anywhere. I don't have a problem. You do. And then let's see. The game will be leaving Steam, but existing owners will get the updates anyways. I'm not sure how that's going to work. If it's like they have to go to Epic Game Store. Or...
No, if they already have the game, they'll just get the updates as normal, but they're not making it available to sell anymore.
Gotcha.
On Steam, because Epic purchased Mediatonic, the makers of it, back in March of last year.
Right.
Same thing happened with Rocket League.
And then the game will be leaving Steam, but existing owners will. I already read that. Why is that? Was there something added?
No, it was just that part there.
Okay, all right.
I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing. Like Fall Guys, you've been waiting for so long for it to come out for like Switch and everything, but they never even made it. They're just like, yeah, we're just gonna make it free to play, which is not a good sign for how many people they had playing it still.
I think after Among Us came out, I think the hype of Fall Guys died down or something like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot it was there. I feel so bad about it. I played it for a little bit and I was like, that was great. Moving on.
It had its day as a new interesting thing, and then it just kind of fell off the hype anyways.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun was intended somehow.
Somehow. In the back of my brain.
Yeah. All right, so Joe, I believe this next story was all you, or?
Oh yeah. So Square Enix announced that an official Saga series broadcast scheduled to air on the last day of May at it's super early at 3 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh God.
Because it's Saga is a very Japanese centric series anyway, but
true. So
the franchise's future will be discussed at length, and no specific details about this have been released yet. But I watch these when they go live sometimes because I'm a big Saga fan and big Saga fan.
Honestly, didn't even think besides Saga Frontiers. Now that I finally remember what that game was from my childhood, I didn't think it was like a whole series. Huh?
Yeah, no. So Final Fantasy Legend. Do you play those on the Game Boy?
No, never.
So
did
those
that.
were.
I did.
Those are Saga games. Those are the first 3 Saga games.
Oh.
And then there were 3 games on the Super Famicom that we never got.
I've heard Romancing Saga.
Yeah.
And then
2 and 3 got ports to modern consoles, and then Romancing Saga 1 was remade toward the end of the PS2 era as Romancing Saga Minstrel Song, and then there's Unlimited Saga and Saga Scarlet Grace.
Yeah, Scarlet Grace, but then Re-Universe, and then
it's a mobile game. Yeah,
of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Well, the Re-Universe, I have to say, I hate mobile games with a fiery passion. Re-Universe is probably the best one to play. It's very generous. It's got cool art and music, but I won't play it because it's a mobile game. But yeah, anyway.
Announcing new Saga project. Super mobile game. Frontier.
Well, there's been 3. There's Imperial Saga and Emperor Saga before Re-Universe. So either way, I'm glad you mentioned that though, because these Saga events, they've been mostly focused on the mobile game Re-Universe, and they haven't really given announcements about anything new. But the series producer and director Akitoshi Kawazu has said that there are other Saga remasters that they're planning on doing. I don't know if that means that they're in development. I would guess that means they're in development, but I don't know. But either way, he said that they're definitely trying to get more of the games out here on modern consoles and also in the West, because there's a lot of games we didn't get. There was a remake of the first 3 Saga games, the Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 in the US. And the first one was on WonderSwan, and then 2 and 3 were on the DS, and they're full remakes. and we never got those here. So it'd be cool to get that, or it'd be cool to get an actually playable version of Unlimited Saga. But yeah, so I think that it's pretty likely we'll see some kind of announcement. And, he also said that they're working on a new Saga game. I don't know what that means exactly. That could be a remake. It could be something else. So there will be an announcement at the last day of this month at 3 a.m. My guess is they'll show a little bit of whatever remaster and something new. So maybe Frontier 2, which would be cool.
Nice. No one will be awake to see this. We'll
No,
watch
except
it
me.
by about 9
Except for
o'clock. when we
Joey.
get up. My
With a bowl
Discord
of
in the morning.
popcorn
Oh
in
my god,
hand.
this is coming out. I'd be like, dude, I muted that hours ago. Just go to sleep. You're gonna be worse than my alarm clock that day.
I have to be anything if not consistent.
I'm okay with that. All right. Believe you also added the next story, didn't you?
Yeah. Vangelis or Vangelis, I don't know how to say his name. The guy who made the soundtrack to Blade Runner.
Yep.
He actually passed away a couple days ago. So he did Chariots of Fire and it's the newer, really Alexander. So that's sad. That's sad. I mean, Blade Runner's soundtrack is like a monumental piece of media.
I love that music.
So good, man. There's not much like it before and not much like it after that wasn't completely derivative of it. So it's a sad day for composers and just music in general.
Do you remember about how old he was? I think I saw something about
70.
He was 79.
Oh, 79?
Okay. I knew he was almost 80. Damn. That's long life. Well, that's sad.
Mm-hmm. So, that's all I got.
Sorry. I keep having to cough. All right. So the last story I had, and this will kind of go into our roundtable here. Wolfire Games' antitrust lawsuit against Valve over Steam is allowed to move forward by the judge. Wolfire Games states that Valve uses its storefront and PC market control to, quote, exploit publishers and consumers. Wolfire CEO David Rosen made a blog post about the issue, and this is kind of a long one, but I'll read it out real quick. Quote, as a dominant platform, when developers list their games on multiple PC stores, the majority of their sales will come through Steam. I believe this makes most developers afraid that if they don't sell on Steam, they will lose the majority of their revenue. To those developers, avoiding Steam would add unacceptable risk to the already high risk of game development in general. I believe that most developers have little or no choice but to sell on Steam and do as they are told by Valve. I believe that businesses are free to do whatever they want within the law. However, once a company reaches a certain level of power over an entire market, the antitrust laws forbid those companies from distorting competition. So a lot of this is just coming down to Steam is so big, we can't ignore them. We can't go to other options without basically shooting ourselves in the foot.
It's a monopoly law.
Yeah.
Basically.
And I kind of get with some of what they're saying, but we'll see how it goes. But Judge Kaufner, I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly, stated Valve may have used Steam's size and market power to threaten or punish developers that try to sell games on other platforms like Epic Game Store or GOG, Good Old Games. The judge also stated that Valve uses a combination of written and unwritten rules to enforce control over developers, influencing how games, even non-Steam enabled ones, are sold and priced. And he feels the allegations are sufficient to plausibly allege unlawful conduct. This isn't the first time Wolfire's made claims, and he didn't win previous ones that Steam operates in two markets as a gaming platform and a store that shouldn't be allowed and need to be separated was rejected by the court. The judge believed there was no demand for consumers for a fully functioning game platform that is separate from a store. And if you think about it, I mean, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, all of those are a platform that operate with the store, and no one's ever thought twice about it. You know, even back with the original 360 and PS3 when that became
because they're proprietary.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's different. I think it's a different dynamic. It works better for that. You know, like that doesn't feel like it's all consuming.
Right.
Like the way that Steam does.
And it's controlled environment. Like, you know, if Nintendo makes a system, you expect Nintendo to be the one operating the store.
Right.
With Steam, they're on PC. There are other options, but their market grasp is so big, they're kind of like Epic Store has to go through ridiculous amounts of money to try and compete. That's why they have all these big deals where if they make a game go exclusive, they're getting huge bonuses to try and make up for what they had, would have made on Steam, just to kind of entice them over to do it. And if it wasn't for Epic itself, they wouldn't may have the money to do that. So I guess the roundtable question I had, ever since Steam was launched back with Half-Life 2, Valve has grown to become the almost de facto way for games to be released up until just the past few years, where companies like GOG, Epic, and others have been increasingly making runs at their throne. But even with these other companies, Valve owns the majority of PC gaming market and thus has a major grip on what works and what doesn't. How do you guys feel about Valve's control, and should they have limits placed on it to allow for competitors to arise and grow the PC gaming base beyond just their reliance?
Well, very
who would like to
interesting.
start?
So, just talking about let's make a comparison. Okay. So, there used to be this website called Kiss Anime. Don't know if anybody knows about it, but that's where most anime people would go to watch their anime. Granted, it was technically illegal, but all the anime like in existence was there. Any anime you can think of, type in whatever, it was all there. Steam has been around for like ever, and it's pretty much the same thing. You go to Steam, type in whatever, it's probably there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the convenience of everything being kind of in one place. That kind of power, I'm not sure, like it when the Epic Game Store launched, it was very interesting just to see how many PC people actually complained that like there's going to be exclusives and I'm going to have another launcher. Again, we like convenient as human species. The more convenient, the better.
Right.
Just adding other competitions and stuff into the mix is kind of aggravating to some people, honestly, but it's probably needed. I'm not sure how you would go about it. I mean, I think Epic is kind of doing what they can, but I'm not sure. I'm sure there can be some laws, but I wouldn't know. I don't know where you end or begin with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's an antitrust thing to some extent. Like, when Steam was launched, it was a huge mess.
Oh yeah, I remember those
Jeremy,
days.
I'm sure you remember, and because I got Steam from my Steam account is like almost old enough to vote. I got it like literally day one, pretty much with Half-Life 2.
Yep, me too. And this whole purpose was just to verify you had a disc. That's all it would do.
Exactly, and to like launch Half-Life 2 and its add-ons and whatever.
Yep.
So like, in essence, I don't think Steam is that big of a deal. Like the problem is of course they want to make money. Of course they want to, have some kind of great market share because they're there, like so many people are using it as just even as a convenience tool. I get that they want to make money off of it. Like it makes sense. That was always their intention. It's a business, right? But I think, the limitations and the vice grip that they've put on developers and especially smaller developers, you not only are you always going to fight against the algorithm as an indie developer, but you're also now fighting against these stupid regulations and all that kind of stuff. And Steam has been notoriously difficult to work with for some developers. I've heard a lot of horror stories about it, and I know that's whatever anecdotal, but at the same time, there is a very, very strict stipulations that they have for hosting stuff on their platform. And I don't know about like making laws to do this. I feel like the monopoly law does apply here to some extent. And but at the same time, Epic sucks. Epic is like one of the worst platforms I've ever used. It's so bad. GOG is okay, but GOG is very threadbare. It doesn't feel like integrative the way that Steam does. And
they try and stick to more of a DRM free layout, so they're not really relying too much on a big launcher, just maybe an updater, and that's about it.
Right, but the thing is with GOG is that they're focused, in case their name gave them away, their focus is mostly on older games. So DRM is not nearly as much of a concern because, like, obviously Falcom wants to make money from Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles, right? But like the game is $5, and let's just say somebody is ripping that game off, they're not losing a whole lot. So like,
Right.
GOG has its place, I think, in that market for sure. But
Yeah.
all the contemporaries with Valve, I get it. Like, how are you going to compete with something that big, right? And I think the only real way to do it is like, what do people want? Like we hear like, oh, these companies should do this. Well, what do consumers really want? And I think consumers do want that convenience and whatever. I just wish it was more of a tool rather than a platform.
Yeah, to build off of that point, actually, like
Mhm.
if you've ever interacted with consumer research, you have heard the one-stop shop thing. Like every study that's ever existed has had one like uh area that's been like, oh yeah, we should have a one-stop shop for this where we can do everything here.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
the
just
dream they
it
want.
doesn't exist for like anything, but everybody wants it, and like to kind of also harken back to that anime like relationship you're talking about. um, Once you sort of pop that bubble, what ends up happening is you have like all these other little guys start popping up. Let's even talk about Netflix again. And then what you start seeing from a consumer perspective is you have like 700 things that you have to pay for. And the worst, I think, like manifestation of this right now is like web comics. You have 17 different apps that you could use. Each app has a million different stories on it. Each story you have to pay to unlock episodes as they come out, episode by episode, in an in-app currency. And that is the dystopian future that I fear for video games with the direction this is going.
And it
If
kind of was, going there.
and if the antitrust lawsuit is coming from like a consumer benefit perspective, I'd be all for it. But I feel like it's definitely coming from an Epic Games perspective, which is
Yes,
pushing to the like dystopia.
that's a really really good point, and I think that's something that everybody who talks about the subject misses completely. It's not about the consumer, it's about the competition, and the competition doesn't always benefit the consumer.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And
good
I
to
think
have the competition, but
it's right, that's the fallacy of capitalism, right? Like that's like, oh, if there's competition, competition's healthy, and yeah, that's very true, but social and power dynamics eclipse that. And
Yeah,
yeah, sorry, go
competition
ahead.
is healthy until you have like 5,000 of the same type of bread that all cost $8 a loaf.
right. Well, the way I was looking at part of this was in regards to Steam for how much they've grown, they single-handedly killed the physical market for PC gaming. Because as they grew and dropped the requirements for that, or actually penalized people for having physical games with codes you put in or discs you'd verify, that whole market went away. They drove it out of stores because we all remember being able to go into these stores, GameStop, stuff like that, and having big PC sections and buying those games. And now it's just gone. You don't see it unless it's like, dollar bin discs of solitaire games or whatever.
I don't think Steam was the
well, I was about to say, not to mention
arbiter
like
of that.
just Windows updating every year, and then it's like, oh, what is this ancient piece of technology made from 1993? I can't run this. What is this?
Even with those, you can still, there's ways to run those older technology. Obviously, that's going to change. If you're going from a 32-bit to a 64-bit, you're running different amounts of code, layouts like that. That's inevitable. But the actual, even now for physical games, is so rare on PC. And a lot of that was kind of pushed by Steam. But also they're now using their market size to start pushing onto developers to start supporting like the Steam Deck. Things like that, where they're trying to make it with a Linux base through their system. So now the games have to run better on this handheld that they're making, which may not necessarily mean it's going to work as good on other setups or even be compatible with other launchers or hardware.
Yeah, without having to jailbreak it and do a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're definitely pushing their weight around.
Right. No, I think that's a good point too, because it's like do you misdirect what the purpose of the service is? So, like, okay, let's say they wanted to focus more on the Steam Deck, right?
Right.
And that's what the kind of thing that they wanted to push. Then they start becoming more of like a proprietary platform, like we were just talking about with PlayStation and Nintendo.
Right.
So that would change how these laws, if they exist or not, would affect Valve as a whole, right? Because if Valve like wants to have the Steam Deck and use that as a platform for it and also control everything else, then I think something needs to happen where there's some kind of line drawn, right? Or some compromise made. But I don't know. It's a hard thing to really pinpoint because the market there is so odd, right? Like it's so segmented, and I don't really know how you would even approach a law like that. Like, I'm also not a legal professional.
Yeah, I don't know on a legal standpoint how that would go. I'm just more looking at it from the consumer side of how this works out for, the amount of control they've had over it, how that's affected the market and kind of where that's going. Because, like the developers that are bringing up this lawsuit, they're feeling like they are losing control of what they're able to do because they have to fit into these particular boxes that Steam allows them. Not even before they go consider other consoles and things, but just PC in general. They're kind of, people used to just make PC games, put them out, but now that's not going to work unless you can get on Steam, or otherwise you just don't really hear about games that much unless they're through Steam. And even then they get swamped out by the amount.
Right.
Because that's an unbearable just waterfall of stuff that comes through.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why everybody owns like 18,000 Steam games that they've only played like 5% of, right? Like
Right.
that's a super common thing. And yeah, I mean, it's almost unavoidable in a way. I feel like, and maybe this is being cynical, I think video game ubiquity is a bubble that's like kind of hitting its apex, right? And I'm kind of scared for that. And to bring this full circle to the articles that we talked about before, that indie direct is the exact kind of stuff I'm talking about. Because there's so much stuff there. I mean, like on Steam, you expect that. You expect like Johnny Jim's Crab Simulator, right? But like, now that it's starting to like crab treasure, whatever, another Soul's crab, that kind of
crab.
Soul's crab of the lamb.
Right, and it's like I'm not like one of those people who's like snubbing their nose at indie games, because my whole ethic with art is always like, always try to find the little people. The little people have the voices I want to listen to. When it comes to music, I don't look to the radio or any kind of BS mainstream thing to find what I want to listen to, or for movies or whatever. I don't watch what Netflix tells me to watch because it tells me to watch it. And with video games, it's like I play what I want to play. I don't listen to like what Twitter has to say about like Final Fantasy, or like, oh, you should really play this game because it's like it got reviews that are really good, or like all these people are playing it, or everyone's playing Fall Guys. Why don't you? Like I try not to look at it like that, but at the same time, like there's too much crap. And Kel, you're gonna say something? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to talk over you either. It's just that it goes back to the fighting the algorithm thing that we're talking about. You're not really, the technology isn't helping you find what you want to play. The technology is helping you find what it thinks you should be playing that will be most beneficial for whatever income stream is it's supporting.
Yeah, I've found an easier time buying games on Steam by going into particular groups that they've pretty much gotten free labor from them to feed, sift through all this mess to pull out what you might be interested in from that perspective.
Yeah, and so like the other side of this is like how can we find like these quality smaller like producers that you really vibe with, that you're really connecting with, against like the sheer mass of everything else. And I don't think there's really a good option for that, except for just being really on it and self-motivated to look and like have those sort of like I guess tentacles out for it. But like it means that a lot of things get missed by a lot of people.
Well, I got a question for you though. Like, how does a because I think you're speaking from like the consumer side. Like, how does the consumer navigate it? How would the product be more beneficial to the consumer? Like, how would the platform be more beneficial to the consumer? I guess. Like, what steps do you think they could take to make you find games that you actually want to play rather than games that like they're trying to push on you?
Yeah, it's a gnarly problem that I don't think anybody has really solved yet. There's not a lot of impetus to solve it though. Like getting the right things to the right people, if it's not like guaranteed to make more money, isn't going to be something that companies put a lot of time and effort into. However, things um, like which games can be on like Valve versus GOG versus Epic GameStop is going to get a lot of money and attention because there's a lot of money to be had there. So I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but
No.
it's a
No, you
common
could.
frustration for me because like no matter how user centered or consumer centered you want to make an experience, it is fundamentally at odds with the market in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of think it's inherently flawed just in the fact it's an impossible mission because you're either going to have Steam, looking at its recommendations gotten really big and they recommend the games, but they're recommending based on what they want to sell, like you said. Or you've got the other side of it where you have the platform has to be big enough to get a group of people together that can make those recommendations, but then you've got people having to do that. So they can't go to the smaller markets because they won't have enough people to help filter and kind of float up what they think you should be playing based on similar likes. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know?
And honestly, one of the places that does recommendations the best is Reddit. You can kind of get into a lot of
yeah,
like subreddits very easily. Like that is kind of a platform that you can look to for
I need to learn Reddit.
inspiration in how to like create those really successful bubbles and really successful recommendation systems. But then in Reddit, you don't have a direct connection to the game, for instance. You still have to find it on one of the like many avenues
Right.
it could live.
Something has to already point you in that direction to kind of get
yeah.
you
Well,
there.
I think Reddit is always that resource that is there and very informative and well, depending on the subject, but it's always. I mean, even something like slash r coffee, right? Like that's super in depth. They have a lot of people who are like barista certified who go to competitions who actually roast coffee themselves, and there's a lot of practical industrial knowledge that you find in Reddit across all Reddits, really. um I hate Reddit personally, but I agree with Kelly. We're about like it being a really good place to I guess synthesize a lot of information or just break down and get like a super thorough explanation of something. A really good example of this is when uh, I was playing through Dragon Quest, the series, right? And one of the questions I asked was like on Reddit was like, "Oh, what's the best version of these Dragon Quests to play?" Right? And that opened up this avenue for me where it's like, "Holy crap, that's a whole new it's a really interesting topic for enthusiasts who are interested in that kind of thing." And back to what you said, Jeremy, about communities, about using communities for Steam, I think that that's kind of where that falls into. Once people realize that secular humanism is the way that we do things properly and efficiently and in a way that decentralizes monopolies, then, we'll be in a better place.
Well, if
So,
we can just, make recommendations into NFTs and then go.
Yeah.
Don't. Oh my god. Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
All right.
But
So
the last point that I want to make
yeah,
here
go
is
for it.
that I do think that we're coming full circle in a lot of ways where like now the ideas that are coming up are things like, well, what if we bring like back RSS feeds? Like I missed that and it could be cool. But like
I
what if
use
we did it
RSS feeds.
but what if we did that as like a web 3 thing?
Oh
And
God, Web
like I
three.
just I
Mhm.
can't anymore. Like I can't with the direction this is all going.
I roll my eyes at half those terms so hard.
Well, yeah, and it's like I don't know if there's like I mean, we said this multiple times in different ways, but I don't think that there's like really an easy way to broach this subject apart from just saying, don't use Steam. But a lot of times that's impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Download a lot of games that are modern for free that are also on Steam, sure. And that's not hard to do. It's not as hard as you think, folks. But either way, I like to own stuff, even if whatever, right? And so, like, I don't really know if there's a super easy way besides everybody just moving away from it. But then it becomes a Netflix problem again.
The only solution is mankind just needs to halt all media production for the next 10 to 20 years so that we as human beings may be able to consume everything that is made now.
Exactly.
There's no way we, with our lives and jobs, until maybe like retirement happens, but that'll never happen, that we'll never be able to consume everything. It's just impossible.
Yeah,
so we have to pick and choose what we want to.
And ubiquity doesn't mean innovation, right? Like quality does not equal, or quantity does not equal quality. That's a trite thing, but it's true. I think we're coming to the point now where we literally have so many options that like none of the options ever seem good anymore. And the ones that are good feel diluted in some way because of all the other options that you can do. Like, for example, Horizon Forbidden West, right? There's a lot of things in that game that other games do better that you can find and play those games for that thing. And I feel like it's making games feel a lot less special now because there's so many options to do it, and it's like becoming easier to make a game as an independent creator, but harder to you have so many more tools than you did like 20 years ago. Who thought that you'd be able to like Google game dev tools and just download 57,000 options and each of them be viable, right? Whoever thought in a million years that an RPG Maker game would go on to sell like 5 million copies and make a creator an actual multi-millionaire? Like it's an totally crazy thing to think about from the like historically. But I also think it creates this strange overwash of a million different things, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like we're hitting the bubble is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't know. It's a terrifying thing.
Well, to finish this off, the point I was also going to go into was in regards to like Steam's size and the control they have over the market. Is if you think about another newer upcoming technology is VR, where you've got other markets like Quest VR from Facebook, but even Facebook is having to bend the knee to Steam because they had to add support for Steam VR because that's become a predominant tool for people to play VR games. I don't even think you can play VR on Epic and stuff like that right now because they're still new, they're still growing, but they had to get that support for Steam. And so that's now controlling what they can do with their device because of that Steam marketplace. And that's a lot of power, I think. So,
yeah, no, that's when Facebook when Zuck has to suck, there's a thing, that's a scary thing.
That's his secret, though. Zuck always sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have saved that for the ending.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's scratch that record scratching sound. Nothing happens.
Well, I have to do that anyways because I just realized before we do the closing, I never said what I was playing today.
Oh, yeah, you didn't.
And damn it, I actually had some fun ones. Which I'm going to do these kind of backwards from my original plan because this is also going to tie into our first game giveaway that we're going to have, which I'll get to in just a moment. But have you guys ever heard of a game called Superliminal?
I have not.
This game's trippy. Oh, this game's so good.
No, there is a Junji Ito though called The Liminal Zone, and that just my wires got crossed.
Well, this is the case for it. I got the physical copy from Super Rare Games, but it's available on pretty much everything. The Switch version's really good. You can play it on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, which I think a mouse and keyboard actually would be pretty good for this one, how precise you have to be. But the entire game world is controlled by your perspective of view. So if you pick up a little wooden block and you've got it, sitting in front of you, like I'll just use this charger to kind of give a visual, and it's this big, but then you kind of back up to make it look even bigger, and then you drop it, now this plug would be the size of my head or even bigger. And you can use that to get around the levels or play with things. And also for perspective of how you twist and turn. It's not a very long game. I actually finished it in one day. But that's not a bad thing. I had so much fun with it because of that. I'm actually playing through it again because they have a really good developer commentary mode.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they have like floating chess pieces where you can click on those, and the art director, coder, musician, composer, all that stuff, all the different people will talk about their choices, their development ideas, things like that. And there's even hidden ones of those that don't pop up until you find hidden areas. So as soon as you walk in, a new development one will start talking. It's really cool. So definitely check that out. It's great. So I almost made it. I almost had my voice here. The last one I want to talk about, also tied to our giveaway, is Nintendo Switch Sports. That finally came out. And I've had a lot of fun with this. I've been playing it online with Remy. The online's actually solid. Like, it works really well. I've only had the game drop once. But we've done bowling, tennis, volleyball, all that stuff. And all of them have been really fun so far. Badminton is nasty competitive. Like, holy crap. That gets heated. But the only downside I've had is they have a weird requirement. You cannot unlock things for your character unless you're playing online by yourself.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You have to have a Nintendo Switch Online account. But if you don't, and you're playing with someone that does, which, I only have one account on my Switch because my kids have their own, that other person only gets to unlock 2 things a day. It's
That's
a
so
weird limitation. Like, they need to fix that because there's not a very good way to get to play together on one system, but also recognize your own account without making an account on that system and signing in. It's cumbersome as hell.
That's the most Nintendo thing I've ever heard, though.
Oh, it is. It's super Nintendo thing. Yeah. Didn't even mean to go with that, but it works out. The character creation, like, you can use the head of a Mii, which actually doesn't look too bad, but the body looks too realistic. Or they have new avatars that look very much, I think someone described it as the avatars from the 360, like a newer version of that.
Ew, yeah, okay, yeah.
A little bit more cartoony versions. They're kind of cool how you can upgrade them, but you have to keep playing stuff to then randomly unlock different things. And you have so many days you're able to do it before it cycles through. Thank God they could have taken the option of making you pay for this. Like, it could have been, microtransactions. So I'm glad they skipped that. But gameplay wise, it's really good. Like, it's still a solid game to get if you don't really give a dang about the updates or trying to customize too much. It's good to get together and get groups of people playing. It controls really well. Like, I was worried about that because some people didn't like the Wii, but damn, that controller did work really well for Wii Sports.
Yeah, I had a lot of
really
fun playing Wii Sports, and I hate motion controls. Like, I'm a noted hater of motion controls, and I had a lot of fun with tennis and boxing especially. Boxing was my jam. That was so fun.
Yeah, there's no boxing in this one. They kind of dropped that one from the earlier ones too.
Yeah.
But tennis and badminton are more different than I originally thought they'd be. Like, they do play very differently. So I get why they have those. I was kind of complaining at first, going like, feels like you're kind of doubling up on the same thing, but no. The only one I haven't really messed with too much is soccer, just because it's like really slow Rocket League. Well, you have direct control of your character. You have to use both Joy-Cons. So you can run around with one stick while using the camera on the other and kicking. So, I don't know. So to finish that out, the giveaway that we're going to actually have for those that stuck around and are still listening to this, this is the first time we've kind of done this. So to enter, follow us on Twitter at ZenspathPod, and then tweet a screenshot or picture of you leaving a review of the show on your favorite podcast app. Doesn't matter which one it is, just to be like, hey, you guys suck. This is great. Whatever. I don't care. Just leave a review. I just want interaction here. Come on. And then include the tag Zenspath giveaway. I know that's kind of a weird one, but just that way I can filter them out. So just hashtag Zenspath giveaway. ZENSPATHGIVEAWAY for those who can't spell. And then we'll announce a winner on the next episode, episode 68, which is, I think, June 4th. But we'll be giving away a copy of Nintendo Switch Sports, digital, of course, because I'm not buying a physical one and shipping it anywhere. You're getting a free game. Deal with it. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing, just to at least give it a try. I figured I'd at least give it a go, give away a game, get more people playing Wii Sports or Nintendo Switch Sports. I keep calling it Wii Sports.
Whoa, buddy!
I keep
Come
doing
on.
it.
Now
keep
you're
doing
trying to
it.
use there, man. Relax.
My bad. All right, so we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. Kelly, as I said, once again, our newest guest. Thank you very much for joining us. You've been awesome.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
You have been better than Joey.
Always.
Yeah. Can you let us know where we can find you on the internet?
Yeah, I don't have a lot going on. I'm just at Twitter at ConeDog, CONE_DAWG.
Love that.
I don't do a lot there. I just kind of, make dumb observations and make fun of Joey.
Yes.
Fair enough. Well, then we'll go ahead and go over to that. Joey, where can we find you on the internet?
If you go to twitter.com/@conedog, you can see me. You're roasting me for some. I don't know why I'm targeted. No, you can you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/podcastjump. Jump and Shoot podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all the things. We do Super RPG Friends every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're still playing through Phantasy Star 4. We'll be unveiling. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Well, because
you guys had a delay. Frank was out of town, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was out of town, and then we're gonna have another delay. I think we're trying to figure that out.
Delay.
But either way, it's 2 hours a week, once a week. So sometimes games take like 8 weeks, 16 hours, so it takes a while sometimes. We'll be unveiling our next game, I think, next week. So there's no hints here at all.
We're not that special.
Yeah, so we do that every Thursday. Come hang out, join the Discord, make fun of me, because that is the thing to do.
I make fun of you and then Twitter bans me for a bit.
That's true, and you just no, I'm kidding.
It really did. I made a joke about him jumping off a roof, and they banned me for a night that I was inciting someone to hurt themselves.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like jumping off a roof to hurt it was a stupid situation.
Yeah,
but
I still laugh about that.
Yeah, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the things. That's where you could find us, and we have a new project coming out in a couple weeks that I'm really stoked for. Can't talk too much about it right now.
Well, looking forward to hear about that one.
Yeah, hell yeah. So that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Caleb, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Strangely Ent on Twitter, and just look for Strangely Entertaining on YouTube and also on Twitch. That's all.
Nice. All right. I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. You can find me on Twitter at Zenspath, ZENSPATH. You can also find, as I stated earlier, the official Twitter account for the podcast at ZenspathPod, spelled the same way, just add a POD. If you want to talk to us directly, you can go over to bit.ly/ZenspathDiscord to join up with our Discord server and talk with us over there. We are actually looking to play some Splatoon 2 tomorrow, trying to get more together where we can play some games and do other stuff. You can also watch the video version of this over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. Or if you are watching it there, you can listen to the audio version of this at zenspath.libsyn.com, where we have all the episodes. All right. This has been episode 67 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast, and we are out.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, seriously, Kelly did just do better than you, Joey.